Welcome to the WWE Podcast, the most passionate and authentic wrestling analysis on the web. We've got you covered with every Raw, SmackDown, and NXT show, giving you a no bullshit opinion. We know you love wrestling. We do too. So let's get this show underway.
And that's the bottom line. What? 'Cause Stone Cold said so.
Hey everybody, and yes, it is me. It is not Michael, as he is under the weather for this SmackDown review, so buddy, hope you're feeling better, hope you get better, and I'll be filling in. I know it's a little bit later than when I normally drop his show, but we're here to give you the SmackDown review, and there's a lot to discuss here, as well as, of course, the WrestleMania news that has just broken about an hour ago on WWE.com and was on their YouTube channel. And what that WrestleMania news, it's actually fairly big and telling. It is WrestleMania's locations for the next 3 years. 3 years. They gave us a heads up on where they're going to be over the next 3 years. WrestleMania 37, 38, and 39. Soon it'll be WrestleMania 40. Isn't that insane? Think about that. But obviously we have 4 WrestleManias to go until then, and this is what the news is, guys. So WrestleMania 20, in this year, 2021, which is WrestleMania 37, is going to take place in Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida, on April 10th, Saturday, April 10th, and Sunday, April 11th. So let me first and foremost say, this, to me, looks like a repeat of last year's WrestleMania, where it's a 2-night event, and apparently WrestleMania is going to be once again too big for one night, and then the subsequent WrestleManias, well, you know, they're not too big for one night, but I know I enjoyed last year's WrestleMania from a time perspective, very manageable, and it made you look forward to that next night. It was like having Christmas 2 days in a row, to me. That's how I felt. So that's big news, and it is really a early concession to the virus, even though the vaccine's out, that they don't believe they'll be able to get a mass quantity of people there, and they're just kind of waving the white flag early and not making people wait. You know, as they did last year. I remember it was like a few weeks out from WrestleMania. I'm like, are we doing this or not? And it was getting very anxious. This year, nope, they're letting us know 3 months ahead of time that it is not going to be a normal WrestleMania, and they're anticipating 2022 being much different. So before I move on, though, to the next 2 WrestleManias and where they're going to be, and they've already got the logos for them, I will say this. Just because they're doing WrestleMania 2 nights, does that mean that they can't have people in Raymond James Stadium? I think they could. I absolutely think they could. Because they're still doing it in a stadium. It costs a lot of money to rent a stadium. Yes, it isn't your typical sellout, which would require more security, more staff, more concession stands, all that kind of thing. But why would they do it in a stadium if they didn't plan at least partial capacity? Take that for what you will. But that's my thought is, yes, it's split into 2 nights, and they've allowed that format to hold that format this year and let fans know that it's 2 nights in the event that they can't have anybody there. But even if they have people there, so they have to stay an extra night. I mean, I think most fans are there the night before anyway. And so I don't know. I mean, I think while it is split into 2 nights, you might be able to get a partial capacity out of this, especially if you're renting a stadium. Why would they rent a stadium if they didn't think they'd have partial capacity? So I think that says a lot to me. Not just the fact that they've split it into 2 nights again, which I actually like, and the fact that they've rented out a stadium for the event. So could they have the Thunderdome? Of course, just like they have in the Tropicana Field. But I'm hoping it could be partial capacity. Okay, moving on to WrestleMania, my God, 38. This is getting insane. It feels so crazy now to say all these numbers, how old WrestleMania is getting, but in a good way. WrestleMania 38 will take place on Sunday, April 3rd, 2022, from AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Nice. And then WrestleMania 39 will take place in SoFi Stadium in LA, obviously California, where WrestleMania goes Hollywood. I don't think they've done that since WrestleMania 21, I believe, when JBL faced John Cena, where John Cena was crowned the WWE champion for the very first time, and they put the company on his back and ran. I believe that's the last time when it was the... You'll never forget the theme song for WrestleMania 21. I mean, it's... I think it was Linda McMahon's theme. I don't know why that's coming to mind. But nonetheless, that's the lineup, guys. WrestleMania 37, 2 nights in Raymond James in Tampa. WrestleMania 38 in AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. And which they'll probably say in the shadows of Dallas, right? Because they always have to say, anytime they're near New York City in a place that they don't want to say they're in, like in Jersey, they say in the shadow of New York City, right? Just to make it sound bigger when they're like, in fact, 50 miles away from the city. And then obviously, again, 39 is going to be in LA on April 2nd, 2023. Feels like an eternity away, doesn't it? The last thing I'll say about this, and then I'll get to the SmackDown review, is that WrestleMania is taking place much later this year. Again, I shouldn't say much later. It's by about a week, maybe 2 in some years. Sometimes it's like late March. Most of the time it's like April 1st to 3rd or 1st to 4th. That's typically WrestleMania time. This week, they're doing it a week later, and I don't know why. The stadium certainly isn't rented out, so you can't blame it on the timing, and they already have another commitment to another big act coming in. Clearly, that's not the case. So I do wonder what the extra week they think they're going to get out of that. I mean, I've never seen... I don't think I can recall WrestleMania being this late, ever. I mean, the latest I've seen, maybe April 6th is the latest, but it's always that very first week of April. So I don't know what they have up their sleeve or what they're thinking. Do they think the virus is just going to magically disappear between, the first and second week of April? I don't know. Maybe they're buying themselves as much time as humanly possible to see if they can get actual fans there. And I don't blame them. I'm not complaining that it's later. So, but I will say this, that does, I'm sure from creative perspective, they're like, oh, another week. Oh my God, we got to get another week out of this, right? A lot of TV time. So, and it was also, if you didn't check it out, on the YouTube channel, which is where I came across this, on WWE's YouTube channel, they had a WrestleMania report, which was a faux news broadcast that was hosted by Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, who were in just ridiculous news anchor, like clearly it was them outfits, but they thought they were disguised. And I will say this, I was trying to hate it. I was really, really trying to hate what they were doing and think it was stupid. And then I just ended up being like, actually, this isn't terrible. Roman Reigns stayed in character. He made one announcement. I like how he didn't break out of character. That was key for me. Sasha Banks announced the second one, and she was just kind of whatever. And then the third one was John Cena. That was interesting to me. That John Cena was the third announcement, noting that that WrestleMania was going Hollywood on April 2nd, 2023 from SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. So I don't know if that's a hint to, hey guys, I'm kind of going Hollywood. Maybe I'll be there. Although he'd be like, close to 50 at that point. I mean, he high 40s, right? So I don't know. Maybe it's a hint to like this year's WrestleMania. I don't know. I honestly think that while we're on the topic of WrestleMania this year, if people are asking about John Cena, I think first of all, last year with the Firefly Funhouse, you guys know what I think about that. It was one of the most bizarre, twisted, unrealistic, yet deep to the point of hurting my head. I don't want to have to think that hard watching a wrestling, I don't even want to say match, wrestling movie, okay? But he basically got the night off from taking any bumps. He didn't have to put himself at risk. Yeah, he had the quick, like, Sister Abigail in the ring, okay? But it was so produced, and it was such a bump-free environment, and mostly just 99% focused on his character and tearing himself apart, or Bray Wyatt tearing John Cena apart, and all the hypocrisy. There's the word. Jeez. The hypocrisy. I've recorded too many times this week, guys. The hypocrisy of John Cena. So I don't know. Maybe he has more gas left in the tank. Maybe he's back in this year. I don't know. I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate John Cena there. You know, I as much as I despise his babyface character, almost as much as I despise Roman Reigns, the fact of the matter is John Cena on the microphone is light years ahead of really anybody else right now on the mic, maybe outside of a few select individuals. So I always loved John Cena's mic work. He is just one of the best on the microphone ever. And that was a big difference. Also, John Cena knew who he was, where Roman Reigns was just told who he was, but he didn't really believe it yet. So nonetheless, that's the WrestleMania news, guys. I take it for what you will. I don't know what all of this means with John Cena there and with the two nights and April 10th and April 11th, splitting it into two nights. Does it mean people are going to be there? Why is it later by a week? I don't, all of these things, I just gave you my thoughts on why I think it is what it is. But hey, it's time to start talking WrestleMania and transitioning to SmackDown. Here's what I'll say about SmackDown. Overall, I think it was a good show. I think it, again, highlighted, as always, for the past 4 months, highlighted by Roman Reigns, maybe more now, almost 5 months, highlighted by Roman Reigns, being his absolute damn best he could be, and Paul Heyman playing a bigger role in speaking for Roman Reigns. Although I don't think Roman Reigns needs it, I'm glad they're utilizing Paul Heyman more than just body language. As good as Paul Heyman is body language-wise, I'm glad that they're doing something with him that is that speaks to his talents, that can also enhance Roman Reigns. And it's not that you're viewing Paul Heyman as a crutch for speaking, because now we know that Roman Reigns can just be his miserable self and his arrogant self and not need a mouthpiece. But when Paul Heyman speaks, we still all pay attention. He's so good, and he just is. So the focus was here, of course, throughout the show, of getting Adam Pearce to sign the contract for the Royal Rumble, of which he did twice. The first was a no disqualification. Adam Pearce reluctantly signed it. Well, I shouldn't say it even reluctantly. He kind of complained about it and was nervous about it, and then said this is all going to benefit you, and then signed it the next second. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Aren't you going to review the terms and conditions, Adam? I mean, I don't know. Anyway, the second piece of that was Roman not being satisfied with an ODQ. He says he wants a last man standing. Adam Pearce again signs the contract, and then they get to the ending of the show where Adam Pearce is waiting for Roman to sign. Roman finally signs. Adam Pearce says, I've been waiting for you to do that all night. Gets to the top of the ramp as Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman and Jey Uso look kind of puzzled of, why did he say that? And Adam Pearce's mic, maybe that was me, maybe it was my audio, my Bluetooth connection I was listening to, but his microphone was cutting in and out. So what I gathered was that Adam Pearce said, standard terms and conditions of a WWE contract state that if an opponent is unable to compete, that a stand-in shall be selected for that person who cannot compete. And if that's the case, then that makes sense that since Adam Pearce can't compete, that since he's an official, he would be able to choose his Roman Reigns' opponent, Kevin Owens. So Kevin Owens comes out, smiles. Roman Reigns has been got by Adam Pearce, and we have Kevin Owens smiling at Roman Reigns, and I'm glad. I like this. I know that many of you, including myself, were fearful about the Adam Pearce Royal Rumble showdown with Roman Reigns, that we all knew was just going to be a slaughter, but I knew it was getting to another step. I think many of us thought it was getting to just what's in this? What's the catch? Kevin Owens is the catch. And I think that this is a good one. I'm glad that Kevin Owens stayed out for a week, or maybe even 2, maybe just a week, after he got thrown off of the platform onto a table. And he's back, and he's looking for revenge for a third time here. He's getting a third crack at the Universal Championship. And do I think he captures it this time? I still don't. I know early prediction here. I still don't believe that Kevin Owens is going to capture the Universal Championship just because Roman Reigns is too close to WrestleMania, that his opponent for WrestleMania is not going to be Kevin Owens. And Roman Reigns right now is a bigger star. He just is. As much as we all love Kevin Owens, hell, I love Kevin Owens. He's very personable. He's really good in the ring, really good on the mic. But right now, I don't think anyone can deny the fact that, and it pains me to say this, Roman Reigns, I think, needs the belt more right now. And that he's deserving of the belt more right now because he's doing a magnificent job being who he is. It is a just great combination with Paul Heyman. They've got magic working right now. I would not touch it. I really wouldn't touch this, even as hard as it is to say Kevin Owens should lose this match. It sucks. I don't want him to, but he's going to have to. So that's my early prediction. Spoiler alert. But I mean, I'm not guaranteeing it. I mean, what if Kevin Owens is Universal Champion going into WrestleMania? And then you have Roman Reigns versus just Goldberg in a non-title match. I mean, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know why Goldberg even needs to be in title matches, but that's another rant for another time. So that was the theme throughout the show, was this Adam Pearce and Roman Reigns dynamic. And it worked. I think it worked fine. And I'm glad that it's not Adam Pearce versus Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. I'm just glad. I don't think anybody really wanted to see that. It was just no need for it. And then we get Daniel Bryan, and we get Cesaro, and there's a Shinsuke Nakamura, and then there's Otis, who's part of the Alpha Academy with Chad Gable. And I don't dislike the Chad Gable-Otis dynamic. I don't think that it's a bad pairing. It's slightly entertaining. It's something that Otis, to me, is in a much better role doing that than what he was doing for the last 6 months. And I'm glad Otis also changed his attire. You know, we don't see him in silly t-shirts anymore that just accentuate how big his stomach is. Like, I don't really care, but it's distracting and it's, to me, not needed. And I'm glad he just chose like a singlet. I'm glad that it's just very simple, what it should be. But Daniel Bryan taking advice from Chad Gable and Otis, really? I mean, Daniel Bryan is part of the Alpha Academy. Daniel Bryan's he's been traveled around the world. Daniel Bryan has been in the Independents. He has more wrestling experience, professional, than both of them combined. I understand that Chad Gable was an actual Olympian. I understand that, okay? But I'm talking professional wrestling. I don't know why Daniel Bryan. It feels like Daniel Bryan is, again, he's the one that should be teaching them. It just feels very reversed. It's weird, but nonetheless, we get a Cesaro and Daniel Bryan matchup, and I think we know that going in, you're going to get a great match. How can you not? Corey Graves is obviously kind of speaking for the fans here, saying it's a wrestling purist's dream, and it is. And he says that many times, I could watch this forever, and it's true. And Daniel Bryan Cesaro is you talk about a technical chain wrestling, great storytelling combination. These two could have an Iron Man match, and it would be brilliant. They'll never get that opportunity, I don't believe. But WWE knows this is a plug and play. This is an instant, I don't want to say instant classic, it's a little much, but it's an instant good to very good to probably great match off the top. Although today, having great matches is, I don't know why it is so important and supersedes great characters and stories. That I'm going to not touch. That's a rant I can feel, and I'm going to suppress it for the moment. But it's Daniel Bryan and Cesaro. We knew what we were going to get, and it was good. It was really good. Really good. And Daniel Bryan loses clean, as he lost clean last week to Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm not sure what's going on with Daniel Bryan here. Now, I know that there have been rumors floating around of Daniel Bryan being Roman Reigns' opponent for WrestleMania. I don't see evidence of that over the last 2 weeks. taking big clean losses to Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura. Those are big. Those aren't just fluke wins or they cheated to win so he has an out. No. Daniel Bryan lost clean. That's concerning if you're looking for Daniel Bryan to move up in the standings, so to speak, and maybe challenge Roman Reigns. Now, could they be setting up Daniel Bryan to win the Royal Rumble by kind of bottoming him out right now? Yeah. I mean, look what they did with Lana. You kind of knew what you were going to get there with Lana being shamed and put through tables 9 weeks in a row, and she ends up being the sole survivor at Survivor Series, which I told you was going to happen, and it did, albeit she wasn't really even involved in the match. But maybe that's the logic here with Daniel Bryan. Bring him really far down where fans are like, what the hell's going on? And then pop him right back up and win the Rumble. Could that happen? I think it's possible. It's possible. The other thing that we took from SmackDown that was very clear is that the winner of the Royal Rumble on the men's and women's sides are able to challenge whichever champion they want on either brand. We got that very clear on SmackDown, so there you go. And again, this is not easy. I'm not getting into my picks. I know many people are asking me. It's still very unclear. But again, all you have to do, guys, you just declare it. You just declare that you're in, and you're in. It's just insane that you can have a match where people just say, oh, I'm in, oh, me. Is it first come, first serve? If that's the case, why don't you have more people stand up quickly and be like, oh, me, right? Do they have to tweet it quicker than the other person? This is bizarre. I don't understand I declare I'm in the Royal Rumble, and the old narrative that they shove down your throat every single year as if we're stupid. And Corey Graves did this outright this week. Said it verbatim. That in order to win, you have to defeat 29 other superstars and throw them over the top rope. No, you don't. Stop it. No, you don't. You do not need to defeat 29 other people. In fact, you only need to defeat one person. You know why? Because, say for instance, you are one of or say you come in number 30 and there's one person left in the ring. You have one person to throw over the top rope. That's it. So you need to defeat anywhere from 1 to 29 people. That's the range. I don't need to hear that. You need to defeat 29 other people and throw them over the top rope. And what's even worse is that the wrestlers in their promos pre and post Rumble always say that I had to go through 29 other people. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. There's so many variables depending on what number you chose, how many people were left in the ring. Then you get your true number. How many people did you have to go through? Right? This narrative that WWE tries to sell you every year, it's maddening. It makes the superstar, the wrestlers, look stupid. It makes the announcers look stupid. Does anybody really feel that you have to go through 29 other people? Okay, maybe if you're number one. Okay? If you're number one, then yeah, you have to go through 29 other people, although not one-on-one, because other people are fighting other people. You just have to outlast 29 other people. So I know that I'm playing like a lot of wordsmithing here and wordplay, but it's important here. It's an important note. There's a big difference between defeating 29 other people and throwing 29 people over the top rope and coming in at number 30 when there's one or two people left and saying you beat 29 other. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Oh, God. But we already got it. We already got it this year. It's without fail. It's almost as certain as whoever wins the Rumble pointing at the WrestleMania sign. It is almost as certain as that, if not as certain. Because you know that's what's going to happen. And I will guarantee this too at the Rumble. Here's what else is going to happen. Somebody who's already eliminated will come in and eliminate somebody who's there as a legal competitor. In what world of sports is this a thing that can happen? Now, if you want to say that the person who was eliminated gets mad and they come in the ring and they throw somebody over the top rope, that okay, they did that, they got back in the ring, but that elimination doesn't count. Fine. Like, if you want to have that happen, although you wouldn't because then there'd be no point to it, but that'd be okay, I guess. But that person should be immediately escorted from ringside. Furthermore, we should have the person or people who are coming out to their entrance music have X amount of time or seconds to get into the ring. Otherwise, you could have people hanging out, sitting on commentary, sitting at ringside. If this is such a big opportunity to main event WrestleMania, which is the biggest thing you can possibly do in WWE and the biggest thing you can do in pro wrestling, period, I don't care what industry or what company you're in. If that's the biggest thing you can do, why wouldn't you take every advantage to get there? Which means you just kind of like hang out, hide under the ring. I mean, you should have an X amount of time or you're automatically eliminated. I mean, there are some simple things you can do here, which WWE refuses to do. And it really undercuts the legitimacy of the Rumble. It just does. Because a lot of these things just don't make sense. This don't make sense. To me, the biggest offender is someone eliminated can eliminate somebody who's legal. To me, no, because once you're eliminated, bam, you're out, you're gone. I don't know. I get very angry at these things, but have no fear. Have no fear. You can guarantee that both of these things will happen this year. So get ready. Okay. All right. Moving on here. I want to talk about Sonya Deville a little bit. She's continuing to just kind of be the right arm, right hand woman of Adam Pearce. Kind of disappointing, honestly. I was hoping that she'd be doing more. Maybe she is. Maybe she'll just come out of the woodwork, so to speak, and win the Women's Royal Rumble. I hope she does. I'm a huge Sonya Deville fan. Huge. What she showed us in the Mandy Rose program was brilliant. It was where the hell has this been type of stuff. And I hope that she has a breakout moment at the Rumble. Or at least comes down to the last few and she's in it. I just hope it is. Maybe she's not, though, because they've assigned her to a non-wrestling role. So the other part of the women's division that I really, really loved this past week, and I put this out on Twitter, which, by the way, you can follow us at wrestling_audio, was Billie Kay. Billie Kay, when she originally broke up from the Iconics, I was concerned for. As I was with Peyton Royce, and I'm still more concerned about Peyton Royce, which I actually thought WWE was going to put the focus more on Peyton Royce. And it seems as if at the beginning they did that, and now they kind of put Billie Kay into a comedic role, and I said, oh boy, here she goes into the abyss. We're done. And now Billie Kay to me is thriving way at a much higher level than Peyton Royce is. And I don't think that was the intended consequence. I believe that WWE is like, what? Okay, I guess we got something here. Where there was no intent to have something. And Billie Kay right now is becoming extremely enjoyable on SmackDown. She is one of the reasons that I look forward to watching. And I can't believe I'm saying that because just a month and a half ago, I was just saying how eye-rolling some of her stuff was. I wasn't a fan of it. It was just bad comedy, blah, blah, blah. And I take back those words because I can eat my words once in a while. It happens. They don't taste good, but I can. She has really, to me, been a breakout comedy star. And I don't mean that in a way to kind of undergird her or take her credibility down. Because she's good in the ring. But she's got something here that still is part of who she was in the Iconics. She hasn't completely flipped personality, where Peyton Royce is just very generic. You don't see a whole lot from Peyton Royce. She's super generic right now. She's, extremely good-looking woman. But that only gets you so far, and then, okay, well, what's beyond that? And we haven't got much from Peyton Royce. You've gotten a lot from Billie Kay. And yet Billie Kay has been involved in how many matches? And Peyton Royce has been constantly in a tag team. With Dana Brooke, yeah, albeit losing. But she's been involved on TV wrestling, and yet Billie Kay's the one that's more over. Way more over right now. So I guess that also kind of sits in favor of my argument that character development is infinitely more important than your wrestling matches you have. See? Okay. But what she's doing with being on commentary and trying to fit in and be a part this past week of the Riot Squad and accidentally costing them the match where Liv Morgan lost, it was great. I mean, her on commentary, which she's unofficially official, I love all of it. Her adding to her resume every week, you feel sorry for her, but you're kind of rooting for her because she believes that she truly has this ability, all these abilities that she's adding to her resume. I can't quite explain why she's entertaining as hell right now, but whatever she's doing, I hope WWE doesn't take it and go too far with it. You know, it's weird. You hope in a way that that WWE doesn't catch wind of certain things sometimes, even though fans are loving it, because once WWE sees something that maybe they weren't trying to do, they take it and they drive it 60 feet into the ground to the point of it's dead. Like, you guys killed it. You know, so sometimes they catch it and go, oh, we can make this even better. And in reality, the fans are like, no, please, just leave it the F alone. Like, just leave it alone. Things are going great. And that's what I'm fearful of. So perhaps, maybe I shouldn't even be talking about it, because if someone from WWE is listening to this, they are probably like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, we've got something. Guys, everybody on the phone, we're doing a conference call. What are we doing with Billie Kay the next 4 weeks? I mean, like something. So, I don't know. So if Billie Kay goes down the tubes, then you can blame me here first. But I'm loving what she's doing. Loving it. And I know that some of you out there may think that it goes against what I love in wrestling. But when somebody's good at comedy, which is very, very rare in wrestling, you grab it. You grab it and you build on it. That said, and I'll end here with Billie Kay as far as this point, is that I don't want her to be exclusively a comedy character. I want this to be a part of who she is, but I don't want her to be this forever. I think this is a launching pad. And the reason I say that is, yes, it's working and continue until it starts to not work, but you can't be this character forever and continue to ascend. You have to continue to evolve. You have to continue to just add new wrinkles to your character. Maybe start winning some damn matches. That is, I think, going to come up in the next several months, where this is great. This is a launching pad. It's getting you on the map. People are loving this, but let's build on it. Let's build on it, and let's do something else in addition to this. So that's going to be key with Billie Kay. You know, as much as we all love this, it will eventually get old, and she'll start spinning her wheels. So, okay, moving on. All right, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Jey Uso. And Jey Uso came out and main event Uso, or whatever he called himself, which is true. I mean, Jey Uso has been a breakout star this year, in part to do Roman Reigns. It's funny that Roman Reigns is saying that he's ahead of the table, that he's the one that they should be thanking him. In a way, it's kind of true. When you look at it, like everything Roman Reigns has touched, everyone that Roman Reigns has had a program with, what have they done? Nothing but stardom. Kevin Owens had his best match maybe ever to date in WWE against Roman Reigns at TLC. Maybe, seriously. And I'm still believing that. It wasn't just night after, emotions are high. No. It's been a month and a half now, and I still believe that it was probably the best match that Kevin Owens has had. Maybe he had a couple good ones against Sami Zayn, especially in NXT. But this, to me, everything that Roman Reigns touches right now turns to gold. This is something special we're witnessing. So Jey Uso, again, is also a benefactor. He's doing a great job as a heel. And he comes out, he talks about how his family is the one calling the shots. He tells everybody they should be thanking Roman. He'll go win the Rumble and take the WWE Championship from Drew McIntyre or Goldberg. Again, that's kind of how your big clue to, okay, the winners can choose any champion they like. He also challenges Shinsuke to come down and see how tough his family really is. Shinsuke came down, by the way, to his old music. So there's your full face turn for you. He delivered a kick, and then the two had their match. And what did you expect? I mean, these two professionals in the ring, and I loved it. I mean, I shouldn't say I loved it. It was very good. Cesaro came down and he jumped on commentary and declared, by the way, this is where he declared, because you just have to declare it. So ridiculous. Oh, it's so ridiculous. It would be like the equivalent of this. The NCAA tournament for the men's basketball team that's coming up in March, March Madness, which is a big tournament. If you don't follow college basketball, it would be like teams who don't belong there, or maybe didn't earn it, are suddenly coming. They're going out, cutting a news conference and saying, or even tweeting out, "I declare I'm in the NCAA tournament." Well, wait, why? It's the same thing. And you know, I know that people are going to say, "What do you want? 30 qualifying matches?" No, I don't. But there is a creative solution to this somehow, and I don't know what that is. But I'm not paid to figure out what it is. But all those writers in the back can come up with something, you know, in the future, or they just say the hell with it because it's the way we've always done it, and then it would kind of illegitimize every Rumble before it because then they bring up this lack of logic, right? So perhaps I'm overthinking this because they're not going to change. Because if they change and then start making everyone qualify, everybody would say, well, wait a minute, what about the other, 30 Royal Rumbles that have happened? Are you saying that those are all illegitimate because we didn't have this qualifying stipulation, whatever that is? So I expect this to not ever be brought up. You just declare it. You just declare it. So, God. So anyway, Cesaro was on commentary and he was asked, why weren't you there for Shinsuke Nakamura last week? And Cesaro came up with that hilarious response. I'm surprised Corey Graves didn't laugh at this. He said that, well, you know how big Tropicana Field is? By the time I got out there, they were already gone and, everyone had, the show was over. He's blaming the size of the arena for not being able to come out and help Shinsuke Nakamura. It was just, I cracked up at that. That was funny. So, Shinsuke Nakamura ends up winning with a Kinshasa and celebrating with Cesaro in the ring. So, there's that. Alrighty. Interesting development here. Apollo Crews talking with Roman Reigns. I think this is going to be the best thing that ever happened to Apollo Crews' career. And this is exactly what WWE should be doing with younger talent. And I know that Apollo Crews isn't a super young guy. It just feels like he is because he hasn't had the spotlight. He's always just in the background. He's always having that match that he loses. He's the athletic guy that smiles. That is literally it for Apollo Crews that people look at and think about. I'm sorry, they do. People look at, when you think about Apollo Crews, I say those words. What comes to your mind? He's flashy, he does flips, he's athletic, and he smiles big. Right? You cannot tell me otherwise. This guy has zero personality, and now we're about to see what he's made of. With Roman Reigns, I can't wait for this. I think Apollo could be the guy that maybe helps Roman Reigns at Rumble beat Kevin Owens. Because you all know that he'll end up doing something hook or crook to beat Kevin Owens. That's fine. And Apollo Crews could be part of that. So I think this is really, really good news for Apollo Crews fans to get involved with Roman Reigns. This is a very good sign. And turning Apollo Crews heel on top of it, brilliant. I mean, I think we've seen the very, very generic babyface Apollo Crews for way too long, and this is the best thing ever. It literally, in 30 seconds, Apollo Crews, in the same room as Roman Reigns having a conversation, was more relevant than he ever was on the main roster in WWE. Period. Think about that. So, okay. We also get, again, I'm looking at the lineup here. Natalya with Tamina versus Liv Morgan with Ruby Riott and Billie Kay. I already gave you my analysis on that. Gosh. Oh, and when Billie Kay called mosh pitting mosh pishing, clearly, obviously she messed up the word mosh pitting, and she said mosh pishing, and it was just even funnier, and she owned it. That's what made it great. God, this is great stuff. Rey Mysterio versus King Corbin. I will say, I am over Rey Mysterio. I am over Dominic. Okay, here we go to the opposite end of the table. before I get to the Mysterio family, of which I have seen more than I ever need to see of them, King Corbin is just such a boring heel. I think if he dropped the King thing and just, I don't know, became vicious, like just drop the whole King gimmick, it's over, right? I mean, King Corbin is very simple and easy and nice to say. It's got a nice ring to it. I just think it's kind of time to move on. I know he had those henchmen that I didn't see this past week, which started to add a little depth to his character. Now they're gone. And he ends up beating Rey Mysterio, because of Dominic, who was on commentary. And he went in to try to hit King Corbin because Corbin had hit him on the outside of the ring and cost his dad the match because of an end of days. And Dominic, I really believe, have you guys ever seen the movie iRobot with Will Smith? It was, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. He feels like he's one of the robots. I mean, he can do all the moves, but he's got zero personality. I just am not feeling Dominic at all on the mic. Maybe he's still timid. I'm not saying it's easy to project a personality out there and to take a chance. I understand all that. I'm not saying it's easy at all. But you would have thought that maybe, as good as he is in the ring, he would have dedicated some time to his character development. And I don't know what he is outside of Rey Mysterio's son. Like, what is he? I don't know. He's good in the ring. He hung with Seth Rollins. So, I mean, I don't know. It was him on the microphone is just as, it's so just seriously put you to sleep. I mean, there's just nothing to him. So, okay, moving on. Apollo Crews versus Sami Zayn. With Sami Zayn having the camera crew out there. Oh, loved it. It was great to see Sami Zayn out there with the camera crew and documenting his whole conspiracy theory. I really hope that's actually a thing happening. Like, it's part of Sami Zayn's, it's not just for show, that they're actually doing something and they end up putting it on the WWE network. That would be brilliant. And it's, again, I don't think that that's the case, but it would be awesome. And Big E out there with a Ghostbusters sweater on, with his Intercontinental Championship on like a couch of sorts, like he's in VIP in some kind of high-end club. Apollo Crews wins via the pull of the tights on Sami Zayn. So it's really heel versus heel here, but Apollo Crews pulls the tights of Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn it continues to feed his conspiracy theory, which I love. But Apollo Crews got in the face of Big E. He grabbed his Intercontinental Championship. They had some words, and he walked away. So clearly, Apollo Crews is going to be challenging Big E for the Intercontinental Championship in the near future. I think that's really good. I think he has a real chance of beating Big E for that Intercontinental Championship in the long run. And then having having Apollo Crews and Roman Reigns both carry the championships in this group. There's a lot of potential there. But Big E is also a guy that people have been waiting for to capture a championship. So do you sacrifice that for the perceived greater good of continuing to build a stable around Roman Reigns? There's an argument to be made on both sides. Because then if Big E loses the belt, say in a couple of weeks or at a pay-per-view before Mania, then you can have him in chase mode for a bigger championship. Who knows? I mean, there's really a lot of things you could do here. So, one last thing that I'll say about the whole Rey Mysterio Dominic dynamic. They had a conversation backstage after saying, Rey Mysterio said to his son, "You know how dangerous that Baron Corbin is? You know, he's a guy that can really hurt you." Something to that effect. You know, you've never faced a guy like Baron Corbin. Hey, I would have said, "Hey, Dad, what did we spend the entire summer doing? Facing a guy that is a multi-world champion, is one of the best in the business, and gouged my eye out." Like, it would have been like, if I was Dominic, I would have been like, "Hey, didn't he gouge your eye out over the summer? And you're talking about Baron Corbin being dangerous?" That was just a complete oversight. I was just like, wait, you're telling me that they haven't battled someone like Baron Corbin? I would have said, yeah, they battled someone a lot more dangerous than Baron Corbin. God. Okay, I'm gonna lose my mind. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh well, next week I just see this because I must have missed this. Big E for Apollo Crews for the Intercontinental Championship next week because God knows WWE can't wait to put a championship opportunity on free TV like fools. God. All right, I'm going to stop. What the F are you... All right. Contract signing, yeah, that was the end of the show. So here's what I'll end with. And yes, I did not talk about Bayley. Ding dong, hello. Do we need another talk show? WWE is obsessed with talk shows. I have no idea what the fascination is about talk shows. I have no idea why everyone seemingly needs to have one. I thought this was bad. Bad for Bayley. Bad for Bianca Belair. Just not good. I will say this. Bayley has been involved in worse things. I don't think this is career damaging for either. Okay, I'm not saying it's that level of bad where it was like, what was it? Bayley, This Is Your Life or anything like that with, who was it? Alexa Bliss. There's a much, much worse segments. But for Bianca Belair, there's so many things wrong with this. For Bianca Belair, who's playing the babyface here, to come on a heels show and play along with Bayley, who beat her a couple of weeks earlier, stand at the door and play along like she's actually at the door and have her walk through. Is she going to have every guest do this? Please tell me no. If it's a heel that is on her show, then maybe they play along because heels and always love each other, right? Just as babyfaces typically get along. Heels get along. So if she has another babyface on the show and the babyface just complies with playing her little stupid game of being at the door and opening the door, I may lose it. It's been 1 week. And I know it's a cute little theme. It's very symbolic of what she always says, ding dong, hello, which I actually found kind of like cringeworthy. I never actually like loved when she said that. It wasn't my favorite thing. I just kind of like, I would just kind of groan a little. I would just be like, didn't do anything for me, but it caught on somehow. And WWE's like, oh, wait a minute. Let's make this a damn talk show. Why? What? And having Bayley dress up like she's some, I don't know where they got the inspiration. Did they watch some 80s movie over the weekend? I don't know. It was not good for her. But for Bianca Belair to come out there, and this is the line that got me and stuck with me the most. She talked about how when she says she's the EST of WWE, she doesn't do it in a braggadocious way. She doesn't do it in an arrogant way. Really? Oh. So you're saying that if you're the EST, you're the toughest, you're the greatest, you're the smartest. That's not arrogance. Saying basically the best of everything. Right. Oh, and it's in your entrance video. You're the EST. You're the this. Or you're that. And you haven't expelled arrogance and said it over and over and over and over in every promo you've had with everyone ever, that you're the EST, saying you're the best, you're the fastest, you're the strongest, really? Oh, right, got it, Bianca. Do we have memories of goldfish here? Is that what Vince really believes? Every single time Bianca has brought it up, it has been in an arrogant way. And isn't it a little arrogant to think you're the smartest, you're the fastest, you're the baddest, you're really? I mean, even if you didn't do it in a braggadocious way, that is arrogant to even believe that, because it's not true. So I don't know. This was a disaster. This was bad. This was bad. Now, would I rather sit through 5 Ding Dong Hello shows before I sit through a Miz TV or a Dirt Sheet? Give me a hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'd sit through the Shockmaster. I'd sit through Katie Vick. Okay? I would sit through Stone Cold Steve Austin stunning Mae Young, which happened, by the way. Stone Cold did stun Mae Young at a redneck challenge. I forget what pay-per-view it was in the mid-2000s, like 2003, 2004. It happened. I would sit through Austin's stunning Linda McMahon at the homecoming of Raw in 2005. I would sit through Vince McMahon's limousine exploding and that whole nonsensical storyline. There are many bad things I would sit through before I want to sit through a Miz TV segment. Before I see John Morrison and the Miz on my TV screen. So many different things. That's how you know my hatred for their characters in a channel changing way. Channel changing. Groaning. Embarrassing way. So I don't think that was a good segment for Bianca Belair, particularly Bianca Belair. And, oh, by the way, Bayley challenged Bianca Belair to not gymnastics, but a obstacle course. That's what it is, an obstacle course next week. What? How far has Bayley fallen? I mean, I know that she's there to help bring up new stars, and I have no problem with that at all. What are we doing with an obstacle course here? What is this? The early days of NXT? Did someone get inspired by the early days of NXT? I mean, really? Did somebody just watch the first few episodes of NXT and were like, "Oh man, wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great to have this brought back?" I mean, seriously, it's as bad as when you do an arm wrestling contest between two wrestlers. Why do we need it? Well, I don't understand why we do arm wrestling contests. Why do we need an obstacle course? I'm sure it's going to be just terrible. We don't need to be shown how athletic Bianca Belair is. We all know. I don't think anyone here believes that Bianca Belair is not athletic. I think she is. I mean, it's not even a question. She's shown it many, many times. Look what she did at the Royal Rumble last year. 8 women she eliminated. Okay? This is just bad. I mean, and the hook is an obstacle course. Why do we need this crap? I mean, I can't believe I'm saying that in a program with Bayley here, but it's the creative. It's the creative. They're doing what they can with it, but the logic of EST not being arrogant when that's all you say, that's what you do, that's what you say in every promo, that's in your video package when you walk into the ring. Stop it. Stop it. I mean, that shouldn't even be a nickname that you embrace then. If you feel it's arrogant, how is that even a nickname you embrace? Right? Oh, God. Okay, well, guys, that is my SmackDown review. I'm standing in, so to speak, for Michael, who is under the weather, as I said. Hopefully he's feeling better by next week and able to give us a SmackDown review, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't let SmackDown pass and see the WrestleMania news pass without coming on the air here. I know it's a Saturday night, so I've recorded now 2 days that I normally don't record, with the Mailbag Part 2 on Thursday, and then now, of course, the SmackDown review / WrestleMania news that came out. So tomorrow night, I'll be back with Michael Gross joining me for the Week in Review. Of course, we'll probably cover everything that I just talked about here and get his thoughts on it. And as we get closer to the Royal Rumble, which is 2 weeks away now, 2 weeks and a day away from the Royal Rumble, which it's shaping up to be a big show. Now that Kevin Owens is standing in for Adam Pearce, I think things have shifted. I don't think that anyone believed that it was going to be a true one-on-one match and just Roman wins and we go home. Now we got the answer right away. It is Kevin Owens, and I think that made a lot of people happy. So, guys, thank you so much for listening. Please tune in to Mimi's Highs and Lows of the Week. Those are coming tomorrow as well. And then late tomorrow night will be our Week in Review as we start a new week off fresh with new programming and getting closer to the Royal Rumble. So thank you, everybody. Stay safe, and I'll talk to you next time.